welcome to my channel. I'm Tiffany, a retired librarian turned homeschool mom. And in this video, as we continue with Felicity series, we're going to be looking at Felicity's craft book. So again, this is one of the books that came with some of the original dolls. When they exist, again, they're not made anymore. I mentioned this in her cookbook. Most of the books that I'm going to be reviewing that were made by American Girl, you can buy used. This one is used. That's the reason there's a name on there. But this is her craft book. So similar to her cookbook, it talks about different things that she does. And so it has crafts and pastime from the past. It has a craft tips, and then it has a couple different things. Does this have, it says listed has patterns, and it does, looks like they're patterns. Some of the patterns are in fact in this book. So you could copy these if you kind them. So it has letter perfect. It has you being able to make a quill pen, berry ink, walnut ink, and a wax seal. So then it has fun and games. It has game of graces. I will go and look at those. So that's the fun and games. So the game of graces, the craft that you're doing is you're making, so the game of graces, you're making it's a hoop. So you're making a hoop and you have like chopsticks and you're supposed to toss them back and forth between each other. So, and then it has you make a cup and ball. So typically you're trying to, and then it has you make a kite. So those are kind of the basic things, and there's more information. And then it looks like our section says on the plantation. So again, Felicity's grandfather owns a plantation. And when her grandfather dies at the end of her book, her mother and her siblings inherit the plantation. So it does talk about the plantation a little bit. It does talk about the slaves just a bit. So, but it talks about folding fun, fancy straw hat, and a fruit pyramid. So basically you make a fan, which is folding fun. It has you have to get a straw hat and has you put ribbons and fake flowers on them. Talks about that. And then the food pyramid, which involves sticking food to a foam thing. Then it has a stitch in time. So this is sewing. So you have a cross stitch sampler, a sachet, and then a friendship pin cushion. So it has doing cross stitch, and there is a pattern in here. And then you make a little sachet because they would have these filled with different flowers and things that made things smell nice. Eventually you're putting potpourri in a bag and tying it with a bow. Or sewing it. And then it has to do with the friendship pin cushion, which is, again, you're using embroidery skills and making a little pillow-like pin cushion thing. And then it has sweet scents. So making potpourri, making a tussie mussy, and then a pomander. Now, I think tussie mussy is also mentioned in Samantha's books. They're a little bouquet of flowers. So basically potpourri. Remember, these things came out in the 80s and 90s. I'm in my 40s. Potpourri was a big thing back then. There was potpourri everywhere. The tussie mussies, as it says, it's like a little bouquet of flowers. So, and then it has a pomodar ball, which it's a dried orange. You tape an orange, what on earth, and you poke a bunch of holes in the orange, and then you place the orange in a small bowl and sprinkle with cinnamon, nutmeg, and ginger to make sure so basically you're filling an orange up with spices and leave it in basically you leave, so you put it in a small bowl and sprinkle it with cinnamon, nutmeg, and ginger. Then you put it in a dark closet for a week as it dries. It will shrink and harden, and then you wrap a ribbon around it, and it's kind of a smelly thing. And you hang it in the kitchen or bathroom or closet, so it will give you a spicy scent. Sounds interesting. And then it just kind of has the patterns in the back. So again, similar to the cookbook, this is it provides information about why on earth they do these things and all the historical background and everything. That's why I enjoy these. Again, there are dolls that do not have them, specifically our next doll, which is Caroline. Cecile and Marie Grace do not have one either. Pretty sure Josephina does. Josephina's in the middle there. And not sure who else doesn't. I don't think Julie does either. And she's at the end. So I will fill those in when I can find. But I love these. I wish they had them for all the dolls because it does really give the kind of the historical background and crafts. And I may actually try to learn the cross stitch on here if I ever have time. Yeah, I don't have time. One of these days. But that is really it. Felicity does, and again, they mentioned a lot of the sewing and stuff, and a lot of this stuff is actually mentioned in her books. So the exception, I think, the orange thing or some of the other stuff. But nonetheless, it's a good history lesson, and it provides hands-on crafts that connect to the books. So that is it for this video. Yes, these ones are shorter compared to the books. But if you like what you see, be sure to like and subscribe. I'm covering Miss Felicity here in February, though I'm covering this on January 2nd. I am trying to get ahead of things this year. So you can check out my Kea videos or the rest of my very long collection of videos. I've been doing this channel since I think April of 2022. So I have a good catalog. But again, if you like what you see, be sure to like and subscribe. And I will see you next time. Thank you.